my mother used to always tell us, don't say you're humble, because you have to have something to be humble. My mother say you're grounded. And so for me, I'm grounded. I know that I'm not that deep, but I am one piece of a phenomenal puzzle.
Well, welcome everyone back to the School of Greatness podcast. We've got a living legend in the house, Eric Thomas, my man.
Living legend. I'm living.
It's good to see you, man. I'm excited about this. This is the first interview we're done in the new space. So we just redesigned this. We're still making some tweaks and things here and there, but welcome to a new year.
In a new space.
Yeah.
I don't have to clean it, though.
You don't have to clean it, no, And, we did an interview, I think it was 2 years ago.
Yep.
2 years ago,
You came to me.
I came about an hour away, like somewhere. I don't even know where it was.
I don't know where we were.
Some
Ontario
hotel.
or something,
I'd never been there before.
You and I either. So.
And we had a great time connecting then. I think that's the first and last time I've seen you in person, right? It was that
absolutely.
time? Yeah.
But I've kept up with you ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah, been listening to your stuff and learning, man. We started a podcast because of you.
Are crushing it.
We weren't on the level to go here, so we kind of just do it in our car and in our garage, but we'll get here one day.
No, you guys are great. You guys are doing amazing. And I've been seeing you on tour. You're going to like 1,000 cities in the last 6 months or something crazy. You're just constantly on the road, and then there's packed audiences, thousands of people showing up. You were in we tried to connect in Houston recently.
But you were doing too much.
And you're speaking to like 30 schools a day or something. So
I just try to stay busy, man. Stay out of trouble.
I hear you, man. I hear you.
Stay out of trouble.
Well, I'm excited you're back because you have such a unique gift, unique talent, and unique power and presence in the world. So I'm excited you're back. And I'm curious first, what are you most grateful for recently in the last few months of your life? You've been doing so many things. You've got all these programs, a speaker training thing coming out we'll talk about. You were speaking all over the world, all the NBA teams, baseball, NFL. You're doing everything. What are you most grateful for?
Yeah, my wife's health, man. She's back. I remember when about 3 years ago she was diagnosed with MS, and she was like a baby, so I have 2 children. So, when you think about a child, they eat and sleep. That's pretty much it. And that was it. She only had energy to eat and sleep.
Really?
So she would sleep like maybe 12 hours a day, just a little energy, and I knew something was wrong because she would go to the mall and she could only last 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes, and no stabbing. I'm like, yo, she's a marathon runner.
No ladies can do that.
I said, something's wrong here. And we just left. We went to Australia. And I mean, literally in Australia, we were hitting like, the guys can tell you, we were getting up like at 5 o'clock to catch a 7 o'clock flight, like every single day, and she was murdering it, like getting up before me, getting dressed, boom. And she never complained. We get back. That's 24-hour flight. We get back and she says to me, like, yo, I think I'm better. Like these trips aren't affecting me like they were 3 years ago. So I think, man, that's the best. She, I don't know when this is getting recorded or when it goes out, but she wrote that letter, and she's like, yep, it's time for me to put this behind and support you, in your ministry. So I think that's, man, just having my wife back. Like we've been dating since we were 16 years old. Amazing. She was 15, and we never dreamed of a illness. We never had like a chronic illness as a part of our life dream and goal. So when it hit, of course I supported her, but it just wasn't, it came out of nowhere, and so for a lot of people, unfortunately, when they have lesions on their brain, it travels to their spinal cord and travels throughout their body, and they're in wheelchairs, whatever, and she is fully back, like 90% back. So I think if there's anything I'm grateful for is to have my high school sweetheart, back to, 100%, man.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, no question.
And that's
no
cool.
question.
She's going to be joining the forces with the
I don't know how cool
Empire.
that part is.
We'll see, right?
We'll see. I'll come back 3 years from now.
You're doing a marriage workshop
Absolutely.
here coming up this week or whatever.
Yeah.
And maybe part of that is the space you have, the space between the time you're together, right?
So we'll see.
That's what keeps you guys together. Yeah,
even CJ was like, he doesn't know if he wants his wife up there. He doesn't not 100% sure what she's going to say. So,
right.
Yeah, but I'll come back and give you the, so maybe you can interview her.
In 2 years, we'll do another time and see what's going on.
Yeah.
I like it, man. And you've been speaking everywhere. Just this year alone, you've been speaking a lot.
Yeah. Again,
hundreds and thousands of people that come out. What's the biggest challenge that most of these individuals have? What's the common challenge?
They don't believe, man. It's all mental, and people don't get it. Everybody wants to say, okay, well, here go 10 steps to, okay, Lewis said do 8, E.T. said do 9. Mm-hmm. This person says this to 12 steps, and everybody's trying to get the steps without the mentality. It's like, okay, maybe you don't need all 9, or maybe you don't need all 8. Maybe you need 4, maybe you need 12. I don't know. But I think sometimes they see what we do and say, if I can duplicate that, just like exactly how he's done in the book, exactly how, and it's like, you have a story. You have a unique experience. And so your 12 are shaped by not just your world, but how your world has shaped your thinking. And I think that's the part they're missing. It's like, guys, if it was easy, everybody could do it. If it was a cookie cutter, everybody would just follow it to the T. But there's a mindset. And when I looked at Serena, when I look at the Michael Jordans of the world, Tom Brady, when you look at Michael Phelps, like, it is a mentality. On our new album, The Resolution, I talk about, I got that dog. And I'm not really referring to just this, aggressiveness, but it is a mindset. I saw Belichick said something where, they were like, how you feeling about the Super Bowl? He's like, I'm going to be honest with you. We're 5 weeks behind. You know what I'm saying? He's like, everybody else
for next year.
Everybody else is practicing, training. They lost, and so they're trying to get ready. They're lifting weights. They're reading books. They're, everybody that lost is studying. He's like, we fine. What type of mind says we're 5 weeks behind in terms
after the Super Bowl?
Right, the day after the Super Bowl. So, but again, it's a mentality, and I think a lot of people are missing that mentality.
And what's going to get them to develop that mentality and that belief? What's it going to take?
I say for me, it was hitting rock bottom, and so hopefully for them it's hitting rock bottom or not hitting their goals and having this cycle of loss that they'll say, like a LeBron. You saw LeBron crying. That was because Cleveland had lost for so many years. Like, they had never had a championship. So he was just like, we finally did it, but it was year after year of losing that even when he left and won, he came back because he remembered a loss and said, this is good, but this isn't what I set out to do. Like, I want to be a winner, and I want this town to know what it feels like to win. So I think that's it. When you lose enough or you hit rock bottom and you just say, like, enough is enough, just everything will snap and change, because you're saying, look, the way I've been doing it, it's not working. So I have to do something different. So I just think, man, you got to hit rock bottom.
Here's the interesting thing. I meet a lot of these people, and this is like the deadliest person in my opinion. When someone tells me, Lewis, I've got a really good job. Yeah. I'm making $130,000 a year. I've been doing it for 20 years. I got a really good life, good kids, good wife, but just that something's missing. Yeah. And they got those like golden handcuffs, right? Where the good life, but it's not outstanding. Yeah. What do you say to those individuals who are like, it's hard to really, they don't want to hit rock bottom because they got a good life. Yeah. But man, it's really tough to break through that top level.
Look, man, I just had this conversation with like my number one client in the world, and that's my son. We just had this talk. And I said, son, you are probably at the most dangerous part of your life. And he's like, Dad, I got 3 months and I graduate from college. Like, I work with Tom Izzo. I won Dad, I wear an Elite 8 ring, a Final 4 ring. Dad, I got a job offer of a lifetime. And I was like, that's the problem. I'm like, everything you've ever dreamed of, you are 3 months away. So what happens 3 months and 1 day? Like, you have nothing, son. Like I said, so what you have to do for me is I need you to start all over from scratch. I need you to come up with what's the next 4 years look like? What's the next grind? I'm like, is it getting an 800 credit score? Is it saving $250,000? Is it finding the girl of your dream and getting married? Is it buying a house, helping your mom pay for your sister to go to school? I'm like, son, I don't care what it is, but you don't understand this is dangerous, because this is where people mess up. They get comfortable, they settle, and they think, I made it. And like you said, that's the worst place in the world. So I told my son, like, just imagine in 3 months, you're going to wake up and every dream you've had since you were 6 or 7 years old is all like, who graduates with the dream job? Who lives in New York? He's in Manhattan. He's going to be in Manhattan, Times Square. So I said, son, this is a dangerous place. So I say to those individuals, you're right. You don't want to hit rock bottom, but you have to create your own mental rock bottom so that you don't hit rock bottom.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the power broke, right?
Absolutely.
It's like Damon John talking about the power broke all the time. He's even if you're the richest guy in the world, you got to act like you got no money.
You got to act like it. Because what makes Brady want to win a fifth? What makes Jordan
at 39?
At 39, what makes Jordan say, "Okay, I got 4"? Like, it's not even a new season. He said, we got to get the 5th one. What makes Serena get 23 and still going? Like, what makes Venus, who was sick and should have been gone, and now she's 36 years old? What makes her fight to get to the Australian Open? And I'm telling you, it's not the money, the network. It's not the vision board. It's, I believe, for those of us who are where we are, it's something within. And you can't go buy that. You know, I can't give it to you. Lewis can't. Like, you've got to go within and find that and pull that stuff out. Yeah.
What do you think is the best way to develop belief in oneself?
I just think, man, for me, I mean, a million ways, but for me, it's like you got to find that why. You know, it's like I couldn't imagine not getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Because Dee needs me. You know, imagine, you know, and I don't know MS like that, and nobody quote me or call Lewis and say Eric was wrong.
Right.
But I do know the one thing that they know is stress causes it. And the way the legions grow is because of stress. So my thing is I got to keep the stress off my wife. And right now she's in a hotel, you know, in L.A. You know, she's about to leave her job, and she knows that still financially we're fine. She has a car, and we're taking care of. So I'm thinking about my son, who I don't want to have a student loan, or my daughter, who you know, so for me, it's like, it's my why. And I keep telling people, okay, yeah, Tom Brady, but he was doing it, I believe, Roger Goodell. I believe his mom with cancer. I believe he cried when he talked about his father. He has 4 Super Bowls. He was crying about his father being his hero. I'm like, this is unbelievable. I mean, what more can you ask for? So it's not the car, the house, or whatever. It is that internal goal, that internal why. And so for me, I just think that's it. It's something within, and you got to pull it out. And so it's easy when you have a why, a purpose. I'm doing it for this. I'm doing it for that. It's easy to get up and get going. But if it's just for a car, what happens, Louis, when you get the car? Because you can buy it. What happens when you get the house and you can buy the house? What happens when you get the jet and you got, but when it's for your son, that's forever. Like my wife's MS, the span of her life, it's going to keep me like, it's not, okay, I can get a house and it's over. Like that's going to take me, if she lives another 50, I'm going to be grinding like this for 50. And what I try to explain to people, you have seen this happen before. I don't know if you know a person personally, but you've got a guy whose wife, they've been married 50 years and, you know, and she died, and this guy dies 2 weeks later. And it's like, how did you get through? Like, he got through cancer. You know, he made it through cancer, but his wife dies and he dies a week or two later. Why did he get through cancer? Because he was doing it for her. But once she died, that was his whole reason for living, his whole reason for existing. And when that why died, he was like, it's over for me. You know, or I don't remember Carrie Underwood, I think was her name. And the young lady from Star Wars, what was her name? Oh,
yes, I'm not sure.
Okay, I think it's something like that. But she, say it again. Okay, and Carrie Fisher passed, and I think her mom passed.
Like a week later or something,
a week later. The next day.
Wow.
See, you got some smart people here, right? The next day. So why did she die? Her baby. That was her baby girl. She was all these years that her daughter was struggling with addiction and going through whatever her challenges were. Mom's was right there. But once she died, everything died for mom. So I just think that why, Lewis, is so important. And if your why is a car, well, you're talking 2015 gets old, what, in 2020?
Right.
So that's it. Like, you know, your house, it depreciates in value in, what, 10, 20 years maybe?
Yeah.
So I think, but when you have that why, that thing pushes you. You're doing it for cancer, for your mom. Tom Brady's thinking in his mind, and one of the players said, hey, remember you're doing this for your mom?
Wow.
He said it like, hey, you're doing this for your mom. I know we're down 25. Yeah, I know we're down 25 points, but you said your mom, you know, and so Tom is like, yep, I told my mom, my dad, and I don't want to see my mom at the end of the game with a loss. And then mom comes up with the scarf, and you can see she's going through chemo, and he did it for his mom. So you got to have something within, man. Yeah.
What's your why?
Dee, you know, Jalen, Jada, you know, Carl, CJ, their families, you know. I tell people all the time, you know, I'm not working just for me. I promise these guys if they would rock with me, you know, that they would be rewarded. So they have wives now and children now. Yeah. They have homes and cars and lifestyles. And like what I do, every interview, every video, you know, every presentation, if I don't get better, they don't get better.
Right.
You know, and so when I have these other guys saying, you know, we're going to catch you, E, we're going to be a better speaker, I'm like, well, you better have 100 people you working for, because you're not about to beat me, because I've got people who are relying, like counting on me. When I'm on the treadmill, I'm on the treadmill not because I need to look a certain way. My wife's been in, like, she got beat. You know what I'm saying? So she's been in for the long haul. I'm fat, small, whatever. She's with me. She's not going nowhere. So I'm not doing it for her. I'm not doing it. My mom's not going to love me no more if I weigh 155 pounds versus 260. My mom's going to love me.
Right.
But if my health lasts for another 30 and I can keep this energy, bro, I'm doing 3-4 gigs a day. If I can keep this energy for another 20 years, financially, you know where the team is going to be. But if I allow myself to get sick, you know, because I'm not taking care of my body and I can't go speak or I can't consult, then the guys are going to suffer. Their families are going to suffer. So, man, I'm telling you, waking up for them, and eating right for them, that's my why, man. And then all those people who see me in the airport who are crying, or those people who see me and say, hey, you got me through prison, or you got me through my exams. I can't afford, Lewis, to let those people down. Like, I'm not an entertainer. Entertainers have the luxury of doing whatever they do, on stage, and then they can live whatever life they want to live. Like, nobody holds them to, a standard. But Eric Thomas, people hold me to, like, that's my pastor, or that's my mentor, or that's my father. Like, there are kids who would say, I don't have a father. Like, you don't know it, but you're my father. People say, like, yo, you were my business partner before you were my silent business partner for 6 years. So if I fall off, they fall off. I've heard CJ say before, like, I'm not trying to be funny, and I hope it doesn't happen, but if you got a divorce, I'm thinking, like, if you couldn't make it in your marriage, I'm not going to be able to marry. I wake up thinking about that. That was a conversation we had 10 years ago, maybe. But I wake up like, make sure you do what you're supposed to do, because so much is riding on your speaking. Not tires, but on my speaking.
How do you, of course, how do you not allow the pressure to overwhelm you? Or how do you reframe it in your mind, not as pressure or something else?
Yeah, that's what I don't see it as. Pressure, for sure. But I don't see pressure as negative. Right. Like you probably, I see pressure as it creates diamonds. So without it, no one could be great. So Didi's MS, and I tell people this all the time. I know guys who literally left their wives when they were diagnosed with maybe cancer or maybe MS. I know a young lady specifically whose husband left her after 20 years. Of her being diagnosed with MS. And I get it. I do understand. But I said in sickness and in health, I can't prove that I really love you without this pressure. Like, this pressure proves. Like, anybody can do it if everything was good. I'm proving under stress. Brady was like, fear. We got no fear. Guys, we got to score right now. Okay, now we just scored. Now we got to score again. Yeah. Now it's overtime. Now we really have to score, because if we don't score now and they score, game is over. So for me, I don't see it as negative. I see it as, pressure is what separates the boys from the men. This is what everybody says. They're a great speaker. They're great this. Pressure says, okay, we're going to really see who's the champion. And I'm not trying to, I know it's a lot of Falcon fans out there. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anybody, but they were able to handle a certain amount of success. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, almost multiple fourth quarter. But when the pressure hit, they weren't able to sustain the success they were having. So once we get to overtime, now all of a sudden it goes to the Patriots, and all of a sudden you stopped them all this time, but you couldn't stop them when it mattered, because it was a pressure that a lot of those guys had probably never felt Super Bowl overtime. They probably never felt, we got to stop him now. We got to sack Brady now. Like, you were able to get a sack in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, but when you needed the sack most, under the most stressful time, you weren't able to produce. Whereas Brady was like, I've been here. Yeah. I've been here before. So I got it. So for me, the pressure isn't negative. I like the pressure because it's going to separate ETA from all the other companies that say they're the best motivational service companies in the world. And they might be. It might be 12 of us. I don't know. But if it's 12, we will be among the 12.
The top.
We'll be among the 12.
And there's room for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. That can handle the pressure.
Yeah, of course.
That can handle the pressure.
Of course. And you can't be at the Cavs and the Pistons at the same time. So,
you got to choose.
Let's talk about ego. And, we have, I would say, similar kind of businesses where we're in the face, right? We're the personalities. We're leading the charge.
Absolutely.
And without us, it probably wouldn't be as successful as it is, right? We're speaking, we're doing the videos, all that stuff. How do you separate your personal ego from not getting in the way to being able to be the biggest service that you can in the world, as opposed to it's all about, me mentality, but all about serving your audience? How do you separate that for yourself?
Yeah, well, it's the same way I look at the face. The eye is very important, but not without the nose. And the nose has its significance, but not without the ear. So I don't know if the ear is sweeter than the nose. I don't know if the ear can say, hey, I'm the ear. Like, come on. I don't know if the eyes can say, hey, without us, guys, we couldn't see. Absolutely. But see what? So for me, I think I don't have an ego problem, because I understand I play a significant role, in a phenomenal organization, and without those other pieces, the success that I'm having, I wouldn't have. Right. So I may be the face, but I'm not the nose, I'm not the eye, I'm not the mouth, I'm not the ear. So it's no success without those things. So and I had a long career without the people who work with me now, and had a very good career. And now I have a phenomenal career. So I understand. I can, some people have like one group and it's like this happened with that group. No, I had a group and I have another group. So I played with the Cleveland Cavs back in this time frame. Then I'm playing with the Cleveland Cavaliers at this time. Yeah. And I had success with the first Cleveland. I got contracts. I got, people knew who I was. But with this one, I'm winning. We got hardware now.
Championships.
We're winning championships. So it's easy for me now because I realize, hey, without these guys, I wouldn't have X, Y, and Z. And so I don't see myself as, okay, I did these videos. No, if Carl didn't record them and edit them, nobody would even know who I am. Right. I would have just been that sweet dude in that room.
That one
with
video.
Those 50 people. Those 50 people would have been like, yo, eat a man. Yeah. But with the videos, with C's strategic branding and saying, okay, it needs to be done this way, this way, this way, I wouldn't make the money I'm making. My kids wouldn't have the lifestyle. My wife wouldn't have the lifestyle. So for me, it's not an ego. It's not, my mother used to always tell us, don't say you're humble because you have to have something to be humble. My mother say you're grounded. So for me, I'm grounded. I know that I'm not that deep, but I am one piece of a phenomenal puzzle.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's funny. In the beginning of every one of my chapters in my book, I talk about getting grounded, preparing yourself. We say get grounded. Absolutely. I think it's important.
I stole it from you.
Probably not, but it's
I borrowed it, I should say.
Probably not. Talk to me about what it means to be a man and your opinions and thoughts on masculinity, because there's a lot happening right now. We don't need to get into politics, but just in the world, there's a lot of frustration, confusion, uncertainty, battling of the sexes, things like this. What's your definition of masculinity? First off,
man, it's responsibility. I think a man is about responsibility, and I think a true man, knows he's the head but plays, the tail. I don't have to walk around my house and say, yo, I'm the man. I show my wife I'm the man by ironing her clothes before I leave for the day. I show I'm the man by calling my son and saying, is there any way I can help you? I know you're a senior in college, but is there anything I can do for you? I show my manhood by, saying to C and Carl, man, I love you guys. You know what I'm saying? And on the podcast, I love you guys, or on the calls, I wouldn't be here without you. So I think there's this fine balance of, I'm powerful and I have this strength, but I don't use it for my advantage. I use it for us. I use it so we can grow. Like, I don't use my platform to tear you down, or say things about you that, would put you in a bad place. I use my influence. I use my money. I use my strength. I use my influence. I use my impact to build us up and not tear us down. So for me, manhood, like the real man says, like, I'm not going to make no excuses. I'm not going to point the finger and say, Lewis, you didn't do this. You didn't do that. I'm going to take full ownership, full responsibility of helping us. And even you. Yeah. It's funny. I was looking to get a loan for, I was wanting some property for our church, and the bank was like, I'm sorry, but like, we don't do loans, for churches. And I'm like, okay, well, our history. He's like, it has nothing to do with you. In the last 10 years, churches have, with the economy the way churches have proven that they haven't. And so I'm like, Lewis, wow, it has nothing to do with me.
Right.
But because of the churches and so I'm not just doing this for speaking for ET. I'm doing this so when Lewis does it and people see ET and see the integrity, they don't look at motivational speaking as, man, that's whack, or inspiration as that's baloney. Because you'll go online and there are reports or different videos that say, man, motivation, who does that? Like, that's fake. They trying to take your money. So when I do what's right by this industry, it makes it easier for you. And when you do right by this industry, it makes it easier for me. And people are not saying they're scams. So for me, manhood is responsibility, and it's that fine balance of, when I was a child, I act like I understood that, but when I became a man, like, I put childish stuff away, and I'm not competing with you. I'm here to enhance you, build. I'm on the show today. Like, literally, I don't care how many shows you do. I want this to be one of the ones where people like, I got a fool with Lewis. Like, yo, the way he interviewed E, like the whole chemistry, like, yo, I got a fool with this guy. Not, I'm on the show to build my following. But like, I've got to let people know, and for real, I'm just being real with you, Lewis. Like, I get a lot of calls, and I do very few interviews because when we sit together, whether we say it or not, we are endorsing one another.
Absolutely.
We're saying like, yo, I fool with Lewis, I fool with ET. So I'm here because I have had a chance to follow you.
Right.
I've had a chance to meet you. I'm like, yo, he the real deal. Like I have flaws, but you the real deal. Like you are an authentic person.
Thanks,
like
man.
you're serious about what you do.
Yeah.
You're trying to add value. So for me, if I have a chance as a man with a platform to help you, I'm going to do that. And so this tearing each other down, this talking to each other in a way, like this tweeting stuff, I'm like, bro, you're a grown man. You have something to say to me. Like, just call me. Let's say it to my face. Like, we don't have to tear each other down. So I'm just about responsibility is what I think manhood is. Cool. Bringing up and not tearing down.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's cool, man. And who is the person you look up to the most in the world in general, whether it's an athlete or someone in your family, or is there someone that you're like, gosh, that guy or that woman or that person?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I'm not, like, that's not me. Like, my biological father wasn't in my life, my father who raised me. So I've never really had that dude. But, like, 100, if I had to pick a dude, it would probably be CJ. Like, I look to CJ like, wow. Like I look at CJ, he's younger than me. You know what I'm saying? But the stuff that he does, the moves that he makes, I'm like, yo, that's like, if I could start all over again and do it differently, a lot of what I see in him, I'm like, yo, I would do that at 22, 23. Like, I wasn't really on that. Like, business-wise, like, I might have been praying and stuff, but I wasn't in terms of business, in terms of my marriage. Like, I had to figure some stuff out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't 21 married and like, oh, I know to do this, this, and that. Like, I'm getting into it with my girl. Like, I didn't know, like, okay, E, you need to. So there's just some stuff that I've seen and the way he handles himself and does stuff that I'm like, yo, I don't have that. I have a dream. Like, this man is mine and put stuff. But if I had to have somebody that I would say I look up to, it would probably be C. And this, like, in this time of my life, that's who I look to. If I had like a challenge or like, okay, which way should we go? And,
got it.
Yeah, and I might have a thought in my mind and be like, don't think that thought. Ask C what you think he should do. And if his thought ain't your thought, don't worry about your thought. Just go with what he say.
Right.
And the ship, we gonna be all right. So yeah, that's how I would probably answer that. Yep.
And what about like someone who you haven't met, who you're thinking is doing something really inspiring, or they're just building a business?
I'd say Michelle Obama.
Oh yeah.
Or Oprah. I'm looking at Michelle like, wow, like that role is a role you could have easily just played, in the backdrop and not really done anything, but she had her own ideas, her own platform, and she used it, to help a population of people who would be considered disadvantaged. And then you look at an Oprah who's in Africa, starting schools, who are putting people's books on and, putting them on her show. And all of a sudden now they have influence and impact. So I look at those two women as, if I could have a mentor, I would love to sit down with those ladies and ask, like, how did you gain your influence? Like, because they started, like, they don't necessarily come from privilege.
Right.
And to be able to now be women of, privilege and impact, I would love to just know, like, what books were you guys reading? Right, who were you learning from? And why, ego-wise, why did you not let your ego? You look at Oprah, like, even though she big time, you look at Oprah like somebody that's like my auntie.
Like a friend.
Yeah, I'm like, that's like my auntie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I could go sit down and have a Michelle. You don't look at Michelle as, you can't touch her and whatever. You look at how she was with her husband. She's dancing, kissing. Like, she was a normal, the way she treated her daughters. Like, they had pigtails. My daughters got pigtails. Like, it's like, they're just normal. They're not, of course, but they are normal people in the sense that they didn't lord over people with their celebrity or with their influence. And so I would love to sit down and kind of learn from those individuals. And maybe you can call Oprah for me and set that up.
Yeah, I'm working on that too.
Okay, all right. Well, whoever gets there first.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, whoever gets there first. We'll make sure we say the name. Yeah.
I like that. What's your dream?
Yeah, to change the world, starting with the educational system. I just feel like so many kids who are disadvantaged don't know the power of knowledge. They don't get it. Like you because you are knowledgeable, you were able to write your story. You were able to write your narrative. And I just think because these kids don't understand the power of education, they're not writing their own narrative. And they're letting people write their narrative for them. They're letting people just decide their fate. And I just want to say, look, like, learn, read, write. Like, if you're not good at English, okay, go with math, be an engineer. But, like, take advantage. And I want to help teachers. Like, there's so many teachers, I feel like they care, but because they didn't grow up in certain neighborhoods and they're not familiar with the language, the rules, or the codes, they're not able to coach these kids. Like, and this generation is different. You just can't throw a book in their face because they don't have that, that desire for learning, but you can still coach them. Like, you can still get them ready. So I just want to help teachers to go in the classroom and, like, really empower, really change, and give them the tools that they need to do what they went to school for. Like, everybody talks bad about teachers. You think I took a $50,000 cut? Like, you think I went into education and not a doctor or a lawyer or engineer so that I can fail? And teachers want to be successful too, but I just don't think that they have the tools for this generation. So, man, that's what I would love to do, is change the educational system and just give more people, man, you know how it is, flying, the world, you know how it is, being able to eat. You know what it's like to have choice. You know what it's like to have freedom. It's real nice. Man, it's great, man. And I don't want people to think, I'm on that, but I walked in a hotel yesterday, there was this long line, and then there was the SPG, I think, line. I was like, I'm in the SPG. Yeah. And I went in and, checked in quick. I was like, yo, I like this. I'm not against the long line, but it's good to be, a member, and that's what I want for other people. I don't want just that Eric can put his kids through school or Eric can travel to Australia. Like, I want other kids to know what it's like to have ownership of their own life. Isn't that what America's about? All men are created equal. All men are created, and I want them to enjoy the liberty and the fruit of being an American, because if you really live the American dream, it's unbelievable. It's not like anything else.
It's amazing, man.
Yeah, but it's just so few people who actually get that opportunity.
Yeah. So how are you going to do that?
Well, you saw Houston, man. You
were like 3-4 schools a day. This is what I love about ET is you really practice what you're preaching about your dream. You're not just like, I want to change the educational system and talk to a few leaders about it or something. You are actually on the ground. You'll speak to 6 kids. 600 kids. You'll speak to a classroom, the whole school.
Funny story, if you don't mind. I got time. So my auntie invited me to her school. So apparently she doesn't know I'm E.T. the hip hop preacher. She invites me to her school, and so she sends me this text and says, okay, should I invite just my students or maybe a couple more? And I said, well, Auntie, get more, right? Yeah. I get there. She had 10 people in the classroom. Like, I'm speaking to 10 kids, a high school probably about 25. I'm speaking to 10 kids. Just so happens that the lady, talk about the law of attraction, the teacher next door has been following my stuff for years, shows the kids every Monday. She's like, hey, E.T. the hip hop preacher is in our school. And my aunt is like, who? E.T. Eric? I'm like, yeah, Auntie, I'm E.T. the hip hop preacher. So the lady brings her students over. So I went from 10 to 20 now. Yeah. I've got about 20 students that I'm going in on. And the other teacher goes to the principal and says, do you know who's in our building? And so immediately after that period, and I do like an auditorium 3 hours in a row. They fill up the auditorium and I speak to them, right? But my aunt's still looking like, I didn't know. She's like, why they taking pictures with you? And I'm like, Auntie, I know I'm not a big deal to you, but to a couple people, they really want to hear this. Right. So that's where we started. I just believe start where you are with what you have, for what you have is plenty. And then just recently I was able to sit down with some very powerful people in the education arena who are saying, E.T., we want to help you take this platform to another level. We have the connections, we're in the schools, and we want to help you. But I just think, Lewis, there are so many people who are waiting for the meeting. There's so many people waiting for that meeting to happen before and I just say, let's go create it. So every city corporate brings me to, the NFL, the NBA brings me to, I say, bring me in a day early and let me hit every school I can hit, every detention center. And if I keep doing this, you reap what you sow. Eventually, somebody's going to see what I'm doing. And somebody, Oprah maybe, Michelle maybe, somebody's going to see what I'm doing.
Oprah's people listening, make sure you book this guy to do something. Yes. And when you're speaking at the schools, are you doing most of it, for free? Is it mostly kind of just going in and just showing up?
If it's K through 12, for the most part, it's free.
We just college,
Well, they got a budget.
They can write that check.
They got a big stadium. They have
I hear you, man.
a few big stadiums.
But you're getting paid to go out for something else.
Absolutely. Corporate is bringing me in, or NBA, NFL, and then we're using that time, to go back. Isn't it the American way? Like, somebody has helped us, and then we pay it forward.
Man. Give it back.
I told you I got stuff from the book. He said it the same time I said it.
I feel like, like you were talking about in the beginning, we can make all the money we want, get the cars, the jets or whatever, and have the fancy things, but when's enough? Like before you want to start making an impact. And I feel like everything that I do and that we do, it's like if it's not giving back in some way, then what's the point? If it's just for me or just for us alone and it's not to serve people in a bigger way, like we're doing something wrong.
Let me tell you, man, last night, talking about Didi and I have been married 26 years, together 30. And we check in last night, knowing what's going on today, and just to be able to hold each other You know, as for me, I'm like, no child. Education is no child left behind. And I'm sitting here like, yo, I'm with my high school sweetheart. Like, we made it through everything, and we're doing this thing together. You know, my son calls me this morning for worship. You know, he's like, Dad, I just want to get the day started. A couple players in the car, and we're doing our thing. And I'm like, yo, I didn't have to leave my wife or my kids behind. Like, we're all together. I'm with the team eating breakfast. I'm like, yo, we didn't lose. We didn't lose, you know, and then you're in the airport and there's somebody that's hugging you and crying. I'm like, yo, we're taking everybody with us, you know. It's like the LeBron commercial in Cleveland when he's starting to work out. Amazing. And then before you see it, like everybody's running, and before there's thousands of people with LeBron, I'm like, that's how we feel. Nike hasn't asked us to do that particular commercial yet. You know what I'm saying? But that's what we're doing. Like, it's people who are following us in every city. Now we got Breathe University. There are people all over the world. They're on this movement of this being phenomenal, so they're not forgotten. They're on this for real. The school of greatness. Like, they're really about being great, and it's not us alone. It's all of us together, man. So it's just been sweet not getting to the top and like you're by yourself, but I've gotten to the top and all these people are still coming with us. So it's what you said. It's money. Okay, yeah, you do need that. You need resources, but it's not about the money. The money is a tool to help you accomplish that goal you're trying to accomplish.
And you didn't really have a lot of money growing up, right?
No, not at all.
So how did you learn from someone who never made money really to build wealth? How was that for you? Did you learn from someone? Did you just kind of figure it out?
I mean, the books. Come on, let's be real. You got the Napoleon Hills. Yeah,
Think and Grow Rich on the top there.
That's the one, man. Yeah. You know, you know, The Richest Man in Babylon.
I got that in here.
Yeah. So you know all the classics, man. The Richest Man That Ever Lived. I mean, it's just so many different classics.
Isn't The Richest Man in Babylon? Is that the one where he gives away 50% of everything?
Yep. And he puts
the secret, the scrolls, right? Is that what it is?
Yep. Well, the scrolls Mark 1 and 2 are I'll tell you when I finish, but I got that one. The scroll Mark 1, 2. But for me, then I started meeting Dan Gilbert. I started meeting Bob Proctor. And I was saying, like, I don't want to get the check from these guys. I want to sit down and learn from these guys. So a lot of those guys have done it. And then we've been fortunate to have our own, you know, financial guru now with Josh, you know, being a part of the team, you know, so looking at things from a financial standpoint, because I'll be honest, I always looked at stuff from a ministry standpoint, you know, and the ministry is good, but it's not a business, you know, so now we have a business model, you know, and things are happening. So I got around the right people, man, and was honest enough, you talk about ego, was humble enough to say, I don't know, and I'm not going to pretend like I know,
right?
You know, because sometimes you're like, I don't know, you get these people around you and you try to act like you know. You know, people, did you read that book? I talk to people, oh, yeah, I read that book. You read that book? Oh, yeah, I read that book. They never read a book a day. And they're like, right. But I'm like, no, like, I don't know, you know, and then we need your help. So I've just surrounded myself with the people who know I do well at what I do well at, and I let the people who do well at what they do, I give them free reign to do what they do. Yeah.
Well,
CJ not necessarily doesn't give us all free reign. I give free reign. I get a free reign.
I like it. What would you say is your greatest gift in the world?
Service. Nobody's gonna serve like I serve. You know, I'm gonna preach. Then I'm gonna mop the floors. I'm gonna cook. I'm gonna cut the potatoes. I'm gonna skin them, cut them, boil them. Like, nobody's gonna outserve me. You know, I'm gonna serve in the morning. I'm gonna serve at night. Everybody leaves. I'm gonna cut the light off. You know, so for real, people have different gifts. People are intelligent. People write. You know, people are athletic. People are fast. You know, interview, whatever. I am the best servant in the world. I read something and I knew, you know, just stuff just hit you, but I would never forget reading that the greatest among you shall be a servant. And I was like, ooh, that's my lane right there. The greatest among you will be a servant. I'm like, I can do that. I can wash feet. You know, I don't have a problem with that. Whatever you need me to do, I can do that. You know, so that's my greatest gift. People think it's speaking. Speaking is the platform that gets the attention. But once I get your attention and you come in my life, I will. Like, you won't want to leave this relationship.
Sure.
Put it like that. You won't want to leave me.
How did you learn to speak the way you do?
Paying attention. You know, I think a lot of speakers that I watched, they would come into a building and have a message, and I don't care who was in the room. They do the message. I'm like, nobody's listening. Like, everybody's asleep. But my man is so into himself, like, he didn't even realize that everybody's knocked out. I'm like, they're asleep. Like, it's not working.
He's not looking in people's eyes.
He's not looking at it. He don't care what's going on. He just got his eight speech PowerPoint. He's going through 100 slides. Nobody's getting
clap at the end. Yeah. He's like,
if they get that, and because the generation now, they're gonna walk out.
They're on the phone.
Yeah, they're on the phone. Right. They like it, and I realized, like, that's not working. You know, and when I start, like, talking to people, it's weird. People say, how do you do what you do? I'll just go and ask people, like, what would be your takeaway? If you were listening, like, what would you want to hear? And I just go up and say what they said. So I spend time with the people. I talk to the custodial worker, and I ask him, like, I know the principal's perspective, but my man, you got a lot of paperwork going on. He's behind the desk. Like, you a custodial worker. Like, you see the kids. You hear things that nobody else hears. What's going on with these kids? Well, this parents is divorced, and this kid, is from a foster care, and a lot of our kids, I'll probably get more thorough information from the custodial worker. Like, my man, like, believe it or not, very wise and very tapped in. Sometimes the principal's not tapped into the pulse.
They think they know what they want to hear.
But they don't know what's going on. Talk to the teachers.
So true, man.
Once I get that, all I have to do is go up and say what you told me.
It.
But just keep it creative.
It's so true.
And loud. I figured the loud thing that helps.
Keep their attention, yeah. I mean, it's so true. I mean, that's something that I like to do as well. I was in giving a speech in Illinois the other day, and I asked them beforehand, a week before, what do you want me to cover? What do you want to talk about? Yeah. And they said a few things, and I was like, that just doesn't feel right. I just don't think this audience wants that. So we get there early, and I'm in the back of the room talking to people, just saying, hey, what are you getting out of today? What do you want to get out of this? They don't even know I'm speaking. But I'm just like, what's the big thing? What's the big challenge in your life? And I love that you do that as well, because I don't think a lot of speakers do that.
Oh, because they're full of themselves. Yeah. They think, and it's what I tell young speakers. I don't like going to a restaurant where the food is sitting under that red light. I like to go where I can order and it's made fresh. So as a presenter, I'm not going to give you the red beam light. I'm going to give you can order fresh. Like, what do you want? So when I come in, my stuff is going. I may have never
made to order.
It's made to order. And even Carl has a hard time sometimes because it's like, yo, Carl, hey, I don't know what. Like, I don't know. Just start, and he'll go, okay, well, all right, and I'll talk, and he'll just kind of fill me out. Like, okay, I think this is next. I think that. But although it puts more work on us, it guarantees that it's organic and that the people are going to walk out refreshed. So I'm about being organic, man. Yeah. That's all I'm about. Yeah.
I was speaking to a class yesterday, a small class of students, high school students, and they were in a leadership class talking about public speaking. And a lot of them, their biggest fear is speaking. Right. So how did you overcome the fear? Maybe it sounds like you never were afraid to speak in front of a group, but how?
I still am.
How do you, teach that? And I know you guys have a public speaker training program where you guys
started.
Yes. So it's at etinspires.com. You guys can learn more about it. If you want to learn how to do that and what your style is, you can get that training there. But how do people overcome that fear?
When you realize that you're not speaking so that people can critique you, you're speaking to change their life. Mm-hmm. So you have the opportunity. I don't know if there's anything, okay, I'm sure there is, but I don't know if there are more ways to change people than being up front and like literally speaking. Like that, I don't know what the power is, but there is a power, when you sit down and you're letting somebody's like control your thinking, like they're putting work. And so I realized, like, this is a crazy responsibility. But literally, I have a chance when a kid is listening to me for 30 minutes, he can walk out and his life can be changed forever. So when I shift the focus from how do I sound, how do I look, I want people to say nice things about me to, I'm going to change your life forever. I would say there's still some anxiety because I want to make sure I do it effectively, but it takes the pressure off because it's not about me now. Mm-hmm. It's about changing this kid's life, making principals go back, teachers go back, parents go back with a vision or an excitement or a hunger that they didn't have prior to me being there. Yeah. So for me, it's like, I think if you're focused on, well, am I going to get a letter of recommendation? Are they going to bring me back? Or are they going to say positive things about me? Am I going to get more likes? Is my social media, maybe you should be afraid. But if you go in saying, I'm going to change this kid's life forever, I'm going to change his life, this marriage forever. If you go in with that, it kind of takes some of the edge off.
Yeah, I love that. And that's kind of like the Michael Jordan approach where he said, every night I knew someone in the arena was coming to watch me, and I had to show up to be a catalyst of possibilities or hope for them, right? Yeah. And it's funny because for years when I was speaking, I was always the other way. I was always nervous about what are people going to say? Are they going to like me? Are they going to boo me? Am I going to forget my words or whatever? Right. And it was always about the ego. Like, am I going to look okay? And then a couple of years ago, I got some great teaching from someone who said exactly what you said, essentially, about remove yourself from the situation and make it about the audience. Make it about how can you be in service the maximum way. So I love that you're teaching that, and I'm sure the entire training is going to be more of those great things. So make sure you guys go check it out and get it. What how do you prepare mentally before either a school of, again, 6 or a corporation of 6,000? Do you have the same mental preparation or ritual before you jump on stage or get in front of a room? If so, what is that?
I think it's every day. That's why I'm in a school every day. That's why I don't wait until I get a call. That's why if there's a corporate company that I have a relationship with, I just did something for 5 Guys. I'm staying in touch with the owners. I'm staying in touch with the staff. I'm going to 5 Guys locally and saying, hey, you guys were at the conference. If there's anything I can help you with. And so I think that's the thing. CJ teaches us to stay ready. That's the theme, stay ready. So a part of staying ready is –
you don't got to get ready.
Yeah, you don't have to get ready. So the NFL players that I work with, I'm constantly on the phone with those guys. I'm on the phone with the coaches. I'm constantly asking questions. Like, I don't assume that I can wait for the call and then prepare myself in 30, 40 minutes to be ready to so I create relationships with these individuals. I create friendships with these individuals, and I stay in touch with them on a regular basis, adding value. Like, how can I add value to your life? And then they just keep me, man, you don't realize, what's going on in the NFL. It's like we're watching the Super Bowl, and then the day after we got to do this. And then man, it's like from January to April, like mentally we just got at home, and, we got friends that are trying to distract us, and we don't want to. And I'm like, oh, there we go. All right, Carl, let's put some videos together for that. All right, let's put a curriculum together for that. And so I'm talking. So then when the team calls me and says, the Browns called me, Hugh Jackson said, E.T., I want you to come and work with me. Well, now when I get there, I already know some of the things that he would need as a coach to help these young players. And as much as I'm allowed to, I'm going to have that impact. So I just stay in school, stay in detention centers. Now my daughter is going to detention centers with me.
Wow.
She wants to be a social worker, so I'm staying tapped in. My son's a general manager, so when I do stuff with teams, I bring him along when he can come. So just staying in the environment, staying with the Post, because if you know the Post, it's it's easy. All you're doing is just rehearsing. It's like you're doing you practice. And when it's showtime, you just lay it out. Yeah,
it's nothing different.
It's nothing different.
You're doing it every day.
But if you do it once every month, it could be a challenge.
Challenging, yeah. What do you think about before you go to bed?
Am I going to wake up the next morning? And if I don't, what pieces do I need to put in place so that my wife is well? As a matter of fact, it's funny you asked me that. I felt in my spirit. You know how stuff just comes? I said the other day, because my daughter's 18 and, she's starting to she's probably been interested in dating, just didn't share that with me in high school.
Absolutely.
So I probably have to be careful.
So she's about 11,
I have to be
probably.
careful. I'll say that. I was about to say, my daughter just started dating. No. She's probably just felt comfortable telling me that she likes boys, So what I've been doing is I say, you know what you need to do? You need to sit down on this phone, and you need to talk your daughter through a relationship just in case you don't make it. You need to talk your son through his 20s just in case on one of these flights something, was to happen. And so that's what I've been thinking about lately is how do you prepare them even in your death? Like how do you set up your family and structure in such a way that if you're not physically here, that coaching is still here.
Yeah.
That your voice is still in their ear. So that's what I've been thinking about. And then more importantly, like the mistakes I made that day. I always see it, working with Coach Izzo. One of the things I've learned from Coach is he uses his timeouts wisely. He uses half times wisely. He's constantly trying to make adjustments, during that time frame. And so for me, going to bed is rest.
Yeah.
And so prior to going to bed, I'm like, what adjustments, do you need to make? And then, make those adjustments when I wake up that next morning.
What do you think your biggest weaknesses are?
Man, just wanting to do too much, man. When you think
want to do it all, right?
Yeah, education. I think about marriage. I think about, and all of them are, equally important. People get divorced. You got kids who don't finish school. You got kids who make terrible decisions and they're on the streets or prisons. Like I could just do prison or I could just do education. So sometimes it's just like, it's just like, I want to save the world. And, I have to explain to my wife, I can't help that I want to save the world. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't wake up one day and say, I want to save the world. I didn't push a button and say, all right, save the world. It's like I was born with it. I was born to care. I see people, I'm trying to hug everybody before I get on my flight. I don't carry money anymore because I always give it away. It's like I didn't ask to be this guy, and there's not a lot of save the world people out. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you're like a freak. You know what I'm saying? It's like, when are you going to stop? When are you going to quit? I'm like, I want to stop. But when I sleep, I'm dreaming of people. Like I had a person just recently who, unfortunately, I was trying to coach and mentor, and the relationship didn't work out. I literally had a dream about those individuals, hugging them and their family. And, you know what I'm saying? I hadn't even talked to the person in 30 days, but I'm still thinking about them. Like in my sleep, I didn't ask to do that. I didn't ask to care to that level. Like some people are like some people I know, they're good. Like they can get rid of a person and like never think about that person. Like I'm not wired like that. Like I can't abandon you because you did something I didn't like. Like I'm just wired to be a shepherd. I'm wired to serve, So, but sometimes it causes challenges because other people are like, yo, well, I'm focused. I got to do this or I got to do that. Or my wife was like, well, what about our family? Cut that off and just us. And I'm like, okay, I'm trying, but I don't know what I don't know where the switch is. Like, I don't. If I found out where it was, I would, cut the circuit breaker off and then cut it back on 3-4 hours later. So I think that's probably my greatest weakness is I do want to save the world. And you got to be balanced. Like, you got to take care of your family. You got to take care of your staff. And you got to know when to say no and when to say yes. But it's still a challenge.
Absolutely.
Every school called. Why didn't you come to our school? Why didn't you come to this school? Eric's he think he's big time now. Like, why he was in our town and he went to these schools. Why didn't he come over to here? Does he only work with this group or does he only work with that group? And it's just like, I want to save everybody, but it's 24 hours in a day. Yeah.
So what's in the way? What's in the gap for you for achieving your dreams?
Time. And just prioritizing. And, that's the beauty of having a team you talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Now, as the team grows, you can have more Chick-fil-A's. You know what I'm saying? You take them from the South now, and you're starting to see them in Michigan and Illinois and whatever. So when you get that model, and I think that's what, having a CJ and a Josh right now, what they're trying to do is say, hey, let's turn to ET. If you have a program, P70 speaker training, then you're not hitting these 2 or 3 people here, 10 people there. Now you have this academy and you can bring people and you can do more. So for me, that's not my thing, but having a team of guys now who are saying, hey, let's make it a machine.
Yeah.
And if it's a plane, and we get you a 757, we can put 300-400 people on. We still can't do it the way you want to do it. You still can't get 1 million people.
Yeah.
We can't create a machine for 1 million people, but we can get 500 people on the plane for you, and you can take care of those 500, So I think that has been in a way. It's no longer a challenge. They're actually developing that as we speak, and I think that's going to help me feel better that I've saved 1 million this year.
Right.
I still got to get to those billions, but we'll take the millions that we can get this year.
I like it. And who was the most influential person in your life growing up?
Probably my mom.
Biggest lesson she taught you. What's that?
Mom's like no excuse. She had my grandma had 14 kids. My mom was the only one, really to finish high school.
14?
14.
Holy cow.
And lost a set of twins, so it should have been 16. In a 3-bedroom house with 1 bath, and I just
Michigan?
Chicago. We're originally from Chicago. And I saw my mom. My mom went to college at 48 and graduated at 52. So my mom is that dog. You know what I'm saying? When I think about that, that's my mom, and even though I used to be upset with my mom because she lied about, who my biological father was, it was a plan. Mom's like the original Olivia Pope. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Mom's like, we go, you know what I'm saying? They not going to know who you are. They not, like, how do you get 2 families not to say who your father is? And I was with my biological father's family. I was with my grandma, my aunts, and didn't know who he was.
Wow.
So my mom had a straight, she had it planned out. Yo, this is what's going to happen. You're going to go to school. My mother would sleep in tents so I can go to special schools, because it's like you're on a waiting list, so she would live in a tent, really just camp out, if you will, for me to get in. So mom is, she started as a photographer in 18, 19, turned that into microfilm, for Ford, finished Ford with a degree, and put herself one of the highest levels you could go. So just seeing my mom grind all these years and not say, well, I didn't have my father in my life and I grew up in poverty on the south side of Chicago. Mom didn't make any excuses. Mom said, hey, we'll do whatever it takes. And so mom is definitely, man, even though we had an strained relationship, for a couple of years I left and was immature, but mom has definitely always been that person that I, because some of our challenges, I wouldn't say that I had my mom's picture on the wall, but we've always been emotionally attached. We've always been very close, and so mom has definitely been that person that I learned my grind from.
And what would you say is the biggest lesson you learned from your father or the absence of your father?
That you can fake it like you care, but you can't fake it like you're there, And I think it's so weird, man. Like when I worked with the Browns this year, I didn't get to talk as much as I'm used to talking. That wasn't the role, which was weird for me because I'm like, yo, I talk. But, man, I would literally come to the meetings or I would be on the field as they're coming out getting ready for the game. And I remember guys saying to me like, yo, I still can't believe you on the field, E. Like, yo, I've been watching you since I was in high school. I cannot believe you standing here with, with my team's T-shirt on. Like, yo, this is unreal. And I would have guys from the other team like, okay, I know you with the Browns, but hey, when I was with Oregon or Alabama, you came to my school, and just to see that the talking is good, but being present and holding somebody and looking them in their eyes and saying like, yo, you could do this. Like after a loss in Cleveland and just being there. And they're like, yo, E, we lost 10 games. You still here? We lost 12 games. I'm like, yo, I'm here. I'm not here win or lose. Like, I'm not here. I'm here for you. And to be able to be there for people, I'm realizing that's the best. As a father, I'm there for my children, The staff, as much as I can be, I'm there for the staff. Like, I'm not in my own world, whatever. We eat together. We fly together. We in the same car. I don't have – well, I might be Hollywood. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I might need a chauffeur these days. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, we still do everything together, So for me, I'm realizing the power of presence. You don't have to always talk. You don't have to give people gifts. Sometimes just being in people's life through the ups, the downs, the bad, the ugly, the snow, the sleet. People value and appreciate you just being present.
Well, I love hearing that a Michigan guy is in Ohio supporting my team.
No question.
We need to let the coach have you speak before every pregame and warm them up.
You hear this, Hugh?
Let's go. Come on, Cleveland. A few more questions for you, and I could talk with you all day. I love this. And what are you most proud of that most people don't know about you?
Man. I don't know. What am I most proud of? I don't know. I don't know that I have any like individual pride. I think what I'm most proud of is that I've been able to get with a group of men and we've been able to become brothers and we haven't let egos get in the way and we've been able to change the world with little or nothing. Like when you look at our company, we're from Lansing, Michigan. Like that's where we started in Lansing. We didn't have any support. Now, I've got to change this. I used to always say, nobody gave us anything, but a lady wrote me a check for $1,000 at the free program I do at Michigan State. So I can't say that anymore. You know what I'm saying? But we haven't had a lot. And like I said, egos haven't gotten away. It's not a thing of, you're bigger than me or I'm bigger than you. We like for real, financial records, just everything. We've shared everything. And for us to be three young men from, Lansing, Detroit, Barbados, and to be able to change the world, like you don't know what it feels like to just have people like I can't go anywhere anymore. Like people know who I am, and people, was at the NFL experience, and I remember we went to a restaurant, and I saw hip hop artists that would walk in, and nobody wouldn't say anything to them other than they go, but people would walk up to me and hug me and start crying and say, "Look, guy, I'm not a groupie. Like Eric Thomas, do not get this twisted. I don't take pictures with celebrities, but you changed my life." And this is bigger than I met a guy when we were at when we came in last night to the hotel. He said, "Yo, E, I don't want to say anything to you, but like I built my business because of you. Like you changed my life." Like I hear this every day. And so for me, it's like I'm proud of the fact that we were able to build something that helps people and not necessarily just the focus on us. But we meet people that say, "Man, I made $15 million in the last 3 years watching you guys. Your free podcast, you're free this, you're free that." So for real, man, a group of guys coming together in a room and having a dream and a goal and having a blue collar, forgive me, but a blue collar. We're not Apple, we're not Microsoft, and maybe, we're not in the big magazines and like, some of the, more powerful people in the world may not necessarily be talking about it, but the everyday people who are struggling to get up and get at it are saying, "Yo, you help me." And for me, it's like, yo, we're contributing to America, just like all these other great Apple phones. We're changing lives and to grow. So that's what I'm probably, most proud of what we've done. I can't think of any individual thing I've done. It took me 14 years to get 12 years to get a 4-year degree. So I don't really know that I have anything like, for real. Like I was homeless, high school dropout, eating out of trash cans. I don't know if I've ever had that thing that I did. Like I wasn't an athlete. Like I've never had that thing that I can hang my hat on as an individual. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But as a team, I can truly say I can hang my hat on as ETA. We have we would be magna cum laude, summa cum laude, whatever that is. We would be up there with
highest
GPA.
honors.
Oh yeah, no doubt we would be up there. Yeah.
And what's the total views you've had now on all the videos on YouTube? You guys know how many views? Hundreds of millions of views. Yeah, the PhD, right?
He skipped over that.
Yeah. I remember I was watching it for like a year, building up to it, man, all over online.
Yeah, but I'm saying even that, though, as excited as I was for, even that was a collective effort.
Of course,
I've got people who supported me in terms of editing. People who made me rethink. Like, okay, Eda, I'll never forget. I read it the other day. One of the young ladies who was on my committee, she said to me, it was so funny. I sent her the first draft, and she's like, I'm not trying to be funny, but I know Eric Thomas. I don't see any passion in this. Like, there's nothing that says roar, beast mode. I'm not trying to be funny, but if this is going to have your name on it, I would go back and give me some ET. And I didn't know, because that's not my space. I didn't know I could go ET. I didn't know I could bring it to life. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know I could bring color to it, in life. Because it's academic.
Of course.
So I didn't say that just because, like, it's not something that I've done. I didn't do that on my own. It would be so many people that would have to be in this room, with me. But in terms of ETA, like, I could truly say I know what my part is in this movement, and I'm very proud of what we collectively have been able to do together. Yeah,
that's great, man. I love it. Yeah. What is Breathe University? What is this, and how can people be a part of it?
It's a family, man. It's a family. It's a group of people who believe like we believe, who share our values, who share our passion, and now we've just created a platform where we can be together, man. Look, and I would never talk about any other platform, but the thing I'm so proud of with Breathe U, the young man who runs some of our mastermind calls, he said, look, in the last 2 or 3 years, he has missed 2 calls. So I'm on the Thursday call, I'm on the Sunday call, whatever calls. Like, we get to do BU meetups. So, like, I'm in LA, so all our students that are in this area will come together and do lunch or dinner together. So it's just a huge family, a fraternity, if you will, of people who started from the bottom. It's like, I don't have millions. I don't have, 7,000, 10,000 to be a part of these programs. And so we're like, hey, we're, we the Kia. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You're the Kia of this game. It's a great vehicle, 100,000 mile. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's a great car.
It's just from where you are to where you need to be.
It may not have the brand recognition of some of those others, but in terms of that,
may not have stars in the ceiling.
Yeah. So that's what we are, man. And so we've been able to help
what are you
people.
teaching? What are you teaching?
There are marriage courses. We have financial courses. We have personal development. There's spiritual courses. So. Whatever you're looking for, entrepreneurship, CJ and the guys show you how to start with whatever the gift is and no bank account and still use your platforms that you have to be successful. So everything we've done, the triple-double is what we like to call it.
Yeah.
We're very successful in our marriages. Just yesterday, man, I'm so proud, man. Like, I know people might laugh at me or whatever, but yesterday, my son came by and we had a marital session, and so he was leaving, and I was sitting on the couch, and he came over the couch and kind of like grabbed and hugged me, and kind of did his head on my head and was like, all right, Dad, love you. And the couple that was there was looking like, wow, like, he's 21 years old, but he's still coming home, still to hug. And then afterwards he was like, all right, Dad, where's the money at? I hug you because I know I could get to your heart. So where's the money at, Dad? I was like, oh, it's up. I'm like, you got me. It's up in the cabinet to the left. You can grab it. So, so for us, man, we're trying to teach fathers how to be parents, because a lot of dads didn't have dads. So just everything, man, that you could think of, how to save your money, how to make money, whatever you need in life, we're the one-stop shop. You want to learn how to work a camera, Carl can teach you how to work a camera. Go viral. So just whatever you need, we're that company to help you get it.
I love it, man. I love it, and it's all at etinspires.com. Right?
That's what I hear. I've not been to the site, but I hear it's all there. Yeah, maybe I need to start going to the site.
I love it. I mean, you got books, you got apparel, you got mixtapes, videos,
whatever you need, man, to get you pumped up.
Yeah,
and on that site, or you get the app, download the Eric Thomas app. It's all free. Eric Thomas 2.0. I think I should be at 7.0, but these guys make the decision. I don't know how I'm still just at 2.0.
Sure.
iPhone 7, like I should at least be 4 by now. So
I like it.
Yeah, so I'll have a talk with him about that later.
And I wanted to ask you this question earlier, and I forgot. Is it more important to focus on training the rising generation, the youth, or the current leaders who are instilling the information into the world?
I think it's both and, not either or. I think it's both and. I think we've got to, those people who are influencing them now, we have to get to them and show them every word you say to them is either tearing them down or building them up. And the older generation has to learn, it's not that they don't want it. They just need it in a different way. You know, they want to be successful. They want families, but the way you used to do it, you can't do it. And now we got to get to the babies, because they literally will change the face, you know, of America. And so that's why you see me in elementary, middle, high, college, NFL, you know, and now we have a program for players after the game. And I think that's what makes our ministry so unique, is that there are individuals who will see me at the NFL at a game and say, yo, I've been rocking with you since I've been in high school, E. And so to have people that have been listening to you for 10, 8, 7 years, and then you get to meet in person, they're like, yo, I feel like I'll never forget when I met RG3 for the first time. You know, he was kind of like, yo, E, he's like, it's funny, I want to say hi, but I feel like I already know you.
Right.
You know, so it's like, it's weird because I've been listening to you for the last 5, 6 years, you know. So for me, I think you got to get them young, and you got to spend as much time with them as possible. So when they become adults, they're not just leaders, but effective and efficient leaders.
I like it.
Yeah.
This is called the 3 truths. I don't remember if I asked you this last time. So
all 3 have to be true.
Well, your 3 truths.
Okay. All right.
So this is many, many years down the line. It's your last day, right? Just imagine it's your last day. And you've got billions of views, or however many billions of views now, not just millions. You've impacted the world. You've changed everything you want to change. You've done everything you wanted to do. Everything has happened that you envision, which I know is going to happen. And that's it. It's about, you're about to call it quits. It's the last day. And for whatever reason, everything you've ever created has been erased. All your content, videos, universities, everything has been gone, your content, your messages. And you had a piece of paper and a pen, and you got to write down 3 final truths, the 3 things you know to be true from all the things you've said and all the places you've gone and spoken to from all walks of life. What are those 3 lessons that you would say, these are the principles and the truth of what you need moving forward? If this is all they had to remember you by, these 3 lessons.
Yeah, so the first one, you just said it. We got to get that information back, so we got to have a love for knowledge. Like, we got to get all that back, because we are what we know. We're no more than what we know. So people who are, I heard something recently Carl said, where if you took a room of 100 people and added 100 billionaires to the room, give it 5 or 6 years, the people who are in poverty would go back to being poor, and the billionaires would find a way to be billionaires again. And it's because of what they know. So I would say knowledge is power. Number 2, I'd say we are where we are because of experiences. So find those relationships. Hopefully Didi would be with me on this last day. Find those relationships, man. Find those people that you love, and love on them. Like, don't get so caught up in money and stuff, because relationships are really the essence. And then the final one, man, be true to yourself. Especially being in LA, it's so superficial. Some people can be so superficial, there's no depth, it's so dense, and so I would say, to your own self, be true. Find out who you are, what your gift is, what you love. Like, eat what you like to eat. Go where you like to go. Like, be you. And you'll find out that when you're you, you will attract you. You will attract all the happiness, the wealth that you can by being you. But if you're fake, you can't do it. And this last one, I'm going to get in trouble for this. But my wife's been on the elliptical lately. She's like, I got to lose my butt. I'm like, well, people are paying for that.
They are.
You trying to lose it, you got folks paying for that right there. So I won't know about, but I was teasing them because I was saying you got one group that feels, so who's happy? The person that doesn't have it trying to buy it, the person that has it trying to give it away. It's like this crazy world. Why can't we just enjoy what we have? Why are we always looking at what somebody else has? Like, enjoy what you have, especially if your husband's not mad at it. What I'm saying? So I know she's going to hear this and be like, why did you say that on the Lewis House? I don't know.
Perfect. Those are great. And what's the question you wish more people asked you?
How? They don't ask how a lot. They always like the what. You made this money, you got this, you done this. No, ask me how.
How?
Yeah, just ask me. I said it's like serving, I'm saying, getting around the right people, but people always ask, like, what time do you get up? Why are you asking me what time I get up? You need to find out why I go to bed when I go to bed. How I'm able to go to bed at the same time every night, how I'm able to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, like how I'm able to grind throughout the day. Like, you need to know the formula. And you're just, it's like math. Our teachers, I don't know if this is true of you guys, but we wouldn't get full credit in math if we didn't write out the process.
True.
If you just had the answer, they're like, okay, I give you 2 points for that.
Right.
But like I give you 100 if you can show me how you got to that. Because if you can show me the formula, I guarantee if you really know the formula, well, you're gonna get the answer correct probably 90 out of 100% of the time, 90% of the time you're gonna get it right. And so I just think that's the problem. Nobody's asking me for the formula. Everybody just wants what I have. Nobody's asking me how I got here. And I think that's the question that people need to ask more. And that's what I love about being on your show. I'm just gonna be honest. You can go listen to whatever interviews I did a lot more in an earlier time. Now I'm focused, so I try not to.
You don't do too many interviews.
Yeah, I don't do it. I don't know if I did any really last year. But if you listen to your questions and how you got to those, it's different than what most people ask me. And I stopped doing it because I got tired of what time you go to bed, what time you wake up. I say most of the stuff you ask me, you can read the book and get that,
right.
Or you can listen to the podcast and get that. Ask me something that is so in-depth that I have forgotten to talk about it, that I no longer think about it, that is not, at the center of my, thought process. Like dig deep, because there's some stuff in there. Like it took me 12 years to get a 4-year degree. There's some stuff in there. Like bring some of that stuff out. And I think you do a great job of doing that.
Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, before I ask the final question, I want to take a moment to acknowledge you, Eric, because, again, you are what you preach. You go to the schools, you're on the ground day in, day out for the last 10, 12 years. You've been doing it. You were doing it before you had the brand, the videos. You've been doing it, and you're still doing it. And you're accelerating it and growing it. And so I want to acknowledge you for your incredible level of support and service and impact in the world, because what you do, how you show up matters, and it's making a huge impact on the youth, which I remember being a kid and having someone inspire me that I looked up to that was a catalyst for me. That changed my mindset from a destructive, depressed, abusive mindset, going down a really bad path to a more positive mindset and living a life that was possible to achieve my dreams. And you're doing that every single day for so many kids. So I acknowledge you for your ability to show up with energy, with passion, and the sacrifices that you make to go to bed early and wake up at 3 a.m. Not many people do that. And so you're doing things on a different level, and I acknowage you for the incredible gift that you are.
That, man.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course.
Thank you. And I'm going to call Tom Brady and tell him next year he could just put you in as a tight end. I'm watching right here. I'm like, you should have been a tight end.
I could have been.
You need the Super Bowl.
I could have been.
It's like Gronkowski right here from where I'm looking at.
I know.
Yeah, we got to get you in, man.
I played 1 year of arena football, but I never made it to the NFL.
Well,
so.
Let Brady know, like, I'm going to call and say, hey, Brady, here's the deal. Next time one of your guys go out, I just bring my man
there
in.
You go,
That's
there
all.
You go. And my final question is, what's your definition of greatness?
Reaching your ultimate dreams and goals. Like the stuff that because there are kids out here who are doing better than their sister or their brother, and they're like, well, I'm doing better than you, but we know you haven't tapped into your true potential. And so greatness to me is, one, knowing what greatness should look like for you, having your own personal definition of greatness, and getting up every single day and going after it, man. To me, that's what greatness is. Yeah.
E.T., my man. Thanks, you so much,
Appreciate
brother.
you having me on the show.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.